I would like to present Killing Child at Zoo. The story is about a man who has trouble with sleeping and he feels restless. Furthermore, he has homicidal compulsions. He tries to do normal things, but one day he finds himself walking towards the zoo in Central Park. And here, the man, Patrick, sees a boy near a garbage can. He offers him a cookie and suddenly he stabs him. When the mother of the little boy finds him, chaos arises, and the murderer, Patrick, he pretends to be a doctor, but he does nothing to save the boy. When the police arrive, the boy dies, and Patrick carries on with his life like nothing happened. Um, the story is a short story, and it is pure fiction. And the author is Bret Easton Ellis, and it was published in 1991. So the story is told from Patrick's point of view, and that includes a first-person narrator. The setting is in New York. As the reader is told that he walks towards the zoo in Central Park. And the zoo is supposed to be a happy place and a place you go on family trips to. And because of that, it creates a brutal contrast between what was supposed to happen in the zoo and how the mood was supposed to be contra what actually happened. Um, I would like to proceed with a characterization of the protagonist, Patrick. He is a very strange person and he is aware of his own deviant personality. And that can be seen on page 171 in line 12, where he describes himself as unable to maintain a credible person. And this could tell us that he knows when he does something wrong, he just does not care about it. It could also tell us that he does not want to be this homicidal and evil person, and that he has, but that he has given up trying to be a credible person, and that seems like he tries to be normal in the very beginning, where he does normal actions like returning videotapes and checking messages. Furthermore, he tries to undermine his homicidal compulsion on page 178 in lines 2 to 3, where he says, "My homicidal compulsion, which surfaces, disappears, surfaces," and so on. And this could also be foreshadowing to tell us what is supposed or what is going to happen. If you analyze Patrick from Freud's psychoanalysis model, you can argue that in the beginning, Patrick is controlled by his superego, because he acts from norms and rules when he does normal actions. But in Patrick's personality, there is no ego to create a balance between the id and the superego. And because his id is so strong, it wins. And Patrick ends up acting from his compulsions and his lusts, and he has very evil lusts, so therefore he becomes a very evil person. His evilness can also be seen in his thoughts about killing a child as useless and meaningless. And this can be seen on pages 180 to 181 in lines 41 to 5, because he thinks that if he had killed a grown up, more people would have loved this person, and therefore more people would have suffered from their loss. Only a really evil and twisted person could think this way, and it also shows that Patrick shows absolutely no remorse about his action, even though he knows exactly what he has done. To Patrick, killing a child is therefore no big deal, and that can also be seen in his movements after the murder, because even though he still has blood in his hands, he just keeps on living like nothing happened, and that could tell us that Patrick is a complete psychopath. The thoughts from Patrick towards killing a child and the meaninglessness about this can also be seen in the title, Killing Child at Zoo, because even though the words are really cruel, the tone is completely neutral, and this fact reflects on Patrick's feelings about his action. Because even though the action is unforgivable and evil, and he knows that, he does not care about it. So carrying on to literary devices, it is possible to notice irony in the story, because when the child has been stabbed and Patrick acts like he is a doctor, he describes the situation on page 180 in line 33. He says, "I hold the child's head reverently, careful not to bloody myself." And the use of the word reverently is very ironic, because it means that Patrick treats the boy with respect, but in reality he is being extremely disrespectful towards the boy. And that can be argued from the fact that he holds the boy's head out of two reasons. And one is to watch him die and make sure he dies, and two is to make sure that no blood makes his jacket dirty, which it would if the boy's head was in his lap. Also, there is a use of symbolism, which can be seen with the snowy owl. Traditionally, an owl symbolizes death and change, and that traditional symbolism fits perfectly into the story, but it also fits perfectly into the moment it is described in. Because when Patrick watches this owl, he feels something rushing through him, and in the next scene, he is in the penguin habitat where he kills the boy. And moreover, everything changes just after this building of tension between Patrick and the owl, and that means that the owl is actually very important for the coming action. The themes, you can argue, are death and murder, psychopathic minds, and meaninglessness. Patrick kills this little child of no reason, and more than once he shows that he is not delusional, and he is not in a trance where he does not know what he is doing. And this gives evidence that he has a psychopathic mind and an evil personality. As for the message, one can argue that it is actually not existing. There is no message, and that can be explained from the literary period the short story was written in. Because if you relate it to a literary period, it is possible to see trace from the postmodernism, and the postmodernism works with the meaninglessness, which is, as said, a central theme in the story. And that is also why there is no message, because there is no meaning behind anything in this meaningless world. Also, it depicts Patrick's inability to establish a credible person, as he says himself, but also an identity. It is also possible to relate it to the text The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe, because in The Telltale Heart, the first person narrator is also a killer. But the huge difference between the two stories is that in The Telltale Heart, the protagonist shows a lot of remorse, and that is something Patrick does not.